While doing research for this Trade Machine Tuesday, one thing became abundantly clear in my mind. This is the last one we're going to do for a while. Psychos and sickos unite for a reluctant Trade Machine Tuesday edition of PHNX Suns. Coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. I'm Erik Ruby. That's Gerald Bourget, Stephen Prejean Gardner, the Freckled Mamba, a.k.a. Juice Man, a.k.a. Ayrton. Behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. But of course, the magic doesn't happen without all of you in chat. I'm talking Easy Money Chubbs, Ashley Shaw, Tim, Leo, Joe, Michael, David, all of y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. But thank you all for being here. Audio listeners, 5-star reviews. We'll have something special for you this weekend because we love our audio listeners. And if you're watching on TV, hi. Hey.
Hello.
There is a lot to talk about when it comes to this specific Trade Machine Tuesday. But before we get into that, some housekeeping as far as some Suns news goes. And the Suns officially announced head coach Jordan Ott's staff. Names that we had already known, Gerald, for the most part, but a new face in there as well.
Yeah, we've got Sean Dwyer at the bottom there. He spent the last 4 years at Loyola Marymount. You will never guess where he went to college. But he has an extensive coaching history, so I don't want to fixate too much on that, although I know the jokes are going to fly, the Michigan State jokes. And we got clarification on how to pronounce Jesse's last name. It's Mermis.
Mermis, so not mermaid.
That is straight from the press release. No memes, no mermies. It's Mermis. And we also got confirmation. We knew that John Little had been bumped up from Valley Suns coach to an assistant coach. He's on there. Mike Muscala, we had heard the report from Mike Scotto last week that was happening. Brian Randall being brought back. Chasen Allen staying on. DeMar Carroll being one of the lead assistants there. And so, yeah, we have a full staff for Jordan Ott, first-year head coach.
It's going to be 45-minute breakdown, Stephen. So what are we kicking it off with?
Glad we got some clarity with it.
Mm-hmm. And that's your 45-minute breakdown on the assistant coaches. It's nice to have some clarity. Are we surprised that there's no former head coach here? Like you mentioned yesterday, Gerald, Darvin Ham had been recommended. I'm actually happy that he's not here. I'd rather this staff not have Darvin Ham, but a lot of times when there is a first-time head coach, especially a young first-time head coach, it comes with a lead assistant or somebody on the bench having experience in that role. Is there any second thought to, hey, why wouldn't maybe that be a choice for Jordan Ott and the Suns?
Maybe a little bit. I think for people that have trepidation about hiring an assistant coach or hiring someone that this is their first year in the main seat, there's going to be that fear. But for me, honestly, I think it's kind of refreshing and I'm okay with it because I think as a first-year head coach who's looking to establish himself on a team that is probably going to take a step back this year in terms of expectations and playing for an owner that always has expectations, I think it's good to not have a former head coach that you're kind of maybe looking over your shoulder, even if they're not like some looming presence to take your job. It's kind of nice to have a staff that is built out to what you are looking for, to what you want, and maybe veering a little bit on the younger side. Like there is value in experience for sure, but we've just come from two head coaches that had championship caliber experience, and we know how the last two seasons went. So if we're getting more cutting edge thinkers, younger guys who can relate to the players better, which as we've seen in recent seasons has been a problem, I'm okay with that. It's hard to read too much into these assistants because we don't know that much about them, but it's really, we're going to continue to look at Jordan Ott and Mermis more than anybody.
Yeah, like I've been mentioning since February at this point. Forward thinkers, forward thinkers, forward thinkers. people who see the game a different way, appreciate the approach to evolving what teams are doing to your team, and also continuing to find ways to put your team, not the team that you hope to have, but having principles respective to the team that you're actually coaching in the best position to be successful in tandem with one another, not just 1 or 2/5 of the lineup that's on the floor coexisting.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Chad here where it's like I'm kind of happy that there's not, because also you don't want Jordan Ott to feel like, hey, there's somebody here waiting, right? If things aren't working out, let's work through it. Let's get through it. I got a staff here. And obviously we don't know this for sure, but it does feel like this is Jordan Ott's staff, right? With the way that the franchise had been operating, like you mentioned, Gerald, of hiring championship level head coaches and people who had this depth and experience in the league and it not working out. Like, you don't want to see like a, hey, Frank Vogel's here, Kevin Young, you're sticking around, and then who knows what the dynamic was like there. Obviously that ended up not working out, even though Kevin Young has gone on to have immense success at BYU. So it feels like Jordan Ott's. Obviously we don't know for sure, but it doesn't seem like this is the type of staff that like a franchise would go in and be like, okay, we're going to make sure that you have at least one guy on here that we want. Like, it feels like brains and minds that Jordan Ott can trust, and a couple former players, somebody on the G League level and John Little, who was a head coach in that sense as well. Like, I feel like there's a good amount of like diversity as far as the types of coaches and what potential strengths they might be able to bring to this staff in theory.
Especially since the roster got considerably younger. You don't want an older head coach trying to relate to a rebuilding or retooling, whatever we want to call it, type of team. You want guys that have been in the G League level, that have been former players like Muscala and Carroll, guys that can put in the sweat equity like we talked about the other day and scrimmaging with some of these guys. And it also shows, I think someone in Ashley Shaw said it in the chat, shows they trust Ott. This is full empowerment. This is your staff. There are no former head coaches here to kind of tell you, well, back in my day, this is what I did, or on this team, this is what I did. Like, it's all more of a collaborative, younger-minded group, and I'm more than good with that.
Steven, let's put this picture back up. Am I crazy to say that this is the coaching staff with not only the best hair in the NBA with DeMarre Carroll, but also the best beard in Brian Randall, which is, I've seen it in person at Summer League. It's even longer than that picture shows.
Right.
Well, that's not a lens I typically assess coaching staffs from. So I have no answer for you.
But now that you have, it's obvious.
It's probably going to be the only thing that you're going to look at going forward, right?
And the best glasses with Jesse Mermis.
I mean, speaking of glasses, no David Fizdale on the staff, and then no announcement of him transitioning into any role. So I guess it's safe to assume, at least for right now, until we get future word that he's no longer with the organization, it does feel like a completely clean slate.
Yeah, it could be. I should probably reach out for clarification on that. But as of right now, no official word on what his role might be.
He might just want a fresh start. He might want to get out of here too.
What I will say though is Jesse
about the hair.
No.
Oh.
Jesse is, I think, one of the best ways to tell that someone is like smart and like genuinely knows what it is they're doing.
The glasses.
Yes, of course.
Okay, cool.
The glasses are always
I'm sorry. I'll let you talk.
No, the glasses are always a telltale sign for sure. In addition to the glasses, though, it's the way he articulates the game when he's speaking through things, offensively, defensively, personnel-wise, skill development-wise. There's an energy that just can't be faked. Like, you can't fake the funk, is the saying. He has the way in which he speaks about the game that suggested spent a lot of time doing the things that he's ultimately going to be doing with the Suns. He's very much a psycho and a sicko, a hybrid of both, not one or the other. And I think that, again, is adding to the collection of pieces that bring that in ways unique to them, their own selves. DeMarre Carroll has it from his approach to the game. Obviously, Jordan Ott has it from all of his film room experience. Mike Muscala has it in the traits that were respective to his style of play. Jesse has it in his ways. They're putting some things together, and I think there's a kind of cohesiveness with everything that it is that they're establishing.
Will this relate to wins and good coaching and on-court success? It's August.
But
we don't know.
It will relate to a genuine, earnest, attention to detail-oriented foundation being established for that to potentially come, maybe as soon as this season, but if not, somewhere down the line. But I think it's going to provide clarity as far as what it is that they're trying to work towards collectively.
And as of right now, we don't know how it'll work out, but it is something that we'll keep in mind, and it'll be exciting once we get to media day and training camp to ask some of these players about new coaches that they're interacting with, especially some of the young guys, right? Like a Kaman Malawach, Ryan Dunn, Oso Godaro, Jalen Green still falls into that category. And then, what does Book think? What does Dylan Brooks think? Like these vets that have been around for a while about a fresh young coaching staff. We, of course, will keep you up to date on that right here on PHNX Suns. But another thing that we do right here on PHNX Suns is Trade Machine Tuesday. Now, we were not originally planning on doing a Trade Machine Tuesday, but we did get a Mailbag Monday question, so many alliterations, from King Ghidorah, who asked us if Trae Young and Devin Booker is not the fit that elevates the Suns to a championship as far as the next star, who are some more realistic other star names that could do that. So in respect to that mailbag question, we decided to attempt, and I highly emphasize the word attempt, to put together somewhat realistic trades for some lower level stars across the NBA. Gerald, you're usually the guy with disclaimers. I'm going to start with my own, and then I can open up the floor for other disclaimers.
These are, for the most part, these are your trades, so hit us with your disclaimers there.
We didn't need to tell people that.
I literally tweeted it out for our show tweet today. Yeah, I was like, Eric whipped up some trades. Come yell at him. I was excited for it to not be me in that seat for today.
Dude, it was me when you were gone. You were like, bring Gerald back. And I'm like, all right. Okay. Okay. I think it, from an optics perspective, seems like we've been hitting a little hard on the potential of a Jalen Green trade as of late. And I firmly believe that the Suns will not be looking to trade Jalen Green anytime soon. I think, and I've said this, the earliest they would even possibly consider is the trade deadline. And even then, I don't even know. They might want to get him for a season or two. That being said, when the Suns don't have picks, and Jalen Green is the highest salaried player on the team who's able to be traded, a lot of these trades are going to include Jalen Green. But that being said, I don't want it to come off as we're running him out of town. We don't want him here. On the record, I want to give him a good, honest, and fair shot. So please don't yell at me. Thanks.
It's never stopped him before, but
do you guys have any disclaimers? Because they're not all my trades.
No, they're not all. Yell at you. You stop yelling at them.
I know. See, people don't understand. It's not yelling. This is literally my inside voice.
They said can't tell.
That's like, I thought we were screaming at each other.
That's my point. I thought we were just talking.
You set the tone.
I was matching your energy.
Right. I think that the biggest disclaimers are that because the Kevin Durant trade was made official on July 6th, in terms of Jalen Green or Dylan Brooks being able to be aggregated in trades, a lot of these trades that we're talking about, if it involves either of those players and other players, it wouldn't be able to go through until September 6th because you have to wait 2 months until that trade is done to be able to aggregate those guys in an outgoing trade. So keep that in mind. We don't think that any of these deals are happening between now and then anyway.
Or just happening.
Right, or just happening. But this is to answer a question about secondary type stars that maybe the Suns could trade for. But honestly, a lot of these are going to feel tough because, again, we've talked about this. The Suns currently do not have a tradable first-round pick. And that really hurts if you're approaching it from the lens of we need to trade for a star. If anything, this exercise is probably just going to hammer home the point that if you want to build a contender around Book, you got to kind of capture lightning in the bottle like you did with 2021 and just draft really well, because trading for a second superstar like we saw with Kevin Durant, you're not going to get a superstar like a Kevin Durant again. So do any of these stars even put you in title contention? That's what we're going to debate.
Yeah. Any disclaimers, Steven?
In addition to the 2-month disclaimer for Brooks and Green, you also have the 2-month one for Mark Williams as well.
Yes.
And I think that is a week?
That was
2 weeks after?
Yeah, it was like a week or so after the draft. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, because it was official long after the draft.
Yeah. So a little bit after the date that will make 2 months for Green and Brooks will also be the date for Mark Williams. So just throwing it out there.
So are we ready?
I think so. Let's dive in.
Let's dive into it right after our first break.
Tease.
We got to stay
DeMar
on schedule,
DeRozan
Gerald.
level That's crazy.
Got to stay on schedule. A couple disclaimers with pure edibles. They're delicious. They don't taste like edibles. They taste like candy. Well, because they are actually candy. They're from a full-fledged candy company. Also a disclaimer for pure edibles. You're going to know exactly how you feel when you take them because they tell you how you feel, whether it's sleepy, relaxed, uplifted, balanced, whatever it is. It's clearly listed on the tin, which was always my favorite part of taking pure edibles is I knew exactly how I was going to feel. Plus, they are designed to be ripped or bit in half, making them easily shareable or easy to dial in your exact dose, especially if you're new to edibles. You never want to start high and work your way low, right? You want to figure out the game first so you can either share it with some friends or you can start low, work your way up and figure out what works for you. They blend unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD, along with marijuana-derived THC and some delicious different candies. So go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. And also, I love telling you about a credit union. And you might say, Eric, you're lying to me. And I tell you no, because I bleed Desert Financial Credit Union blue. Literally, my blood is blue until it goes out. Anyway. For more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community. And not only can I say that from firsthand experience, as my grandparents, my parents, and myself have all used Desert Financial Credit Union, but also I can tell you because they are still offering you $200. What credit union is giving you money? Answer me that question. It's just Desert Financial Credit Union. All you have to do is open up a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses, but they've got everything from checkings and savings accounts to stuff when life gets more complicated, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. So once again, when you open up a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Shout out everybody in the chat, including Nate, who says we can workshop the jokes, Eric. Don't worry. Every day I'm just trying to get a little bit better. We're going to have a lot of jokes flying at Gila River Resorts and Casinos on Thursday, August 28th. It is a PHNX residency specifically for those Arizona Cardinals at 4:30 p.m. PHNX Cardinals live show, 6 p.m. PHNX live season preview. That's just for people in person. And 7 p.m. it's a fantasy football draft. A bunch of us, basically everybody of us from PHNX is going to be out there hanging out, participating in the draft, in the show, talking with you. Diehards get some exclusive deals and a drink ticket. It is going to be so much fun over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. It's my favorite one of the Gila River Resorts and Casinos, but they're all great. But come join us in the PHNX Cardinals residency on Thursday, August 28th. All right, I teased you enough. You can yell at me now. Let's start it off with a trade. The Phoenix Suns. What if I told you they could get Kevin Durant?
You master troll.
Okay, obviously this is a joke. But, you know, Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks works for Kevin Durant.
I don't know. We'll revisit at the trade deadline.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Once Kevin Durant requests his way out of there. Okay, I'm sorry.
Now the KD stands are going to come for us. That was his joke.
Bro, I should have put him on the thumbnail, dog. That would have been so funny. Really.
Steven just shaking his head.
That boy is evil.
Oh, no.
Okay, all
Max
right.
says Houston says no, though. So
Yeah, I think so. Nate says, sit in the corner and think about what you did. You know what?
In all caps, though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. That trade might not be the worst trade that I put together today.
It's not.
Okay, and I want to say this.
What?
When I say realistic, that doesn't mean you got to like the trade. This is realistically like where the value of the pieces that the Suns have, who has matching contracts and salary, and who'd be willing to swap. Well, guess what? You're not going to like it, which just goes to, like Gerald said, hammer home the point of this isn't going to happen. However, if you wanted somebody who says stupid things on podcasts more than they take shots, which is a lot.
Oh, no.
How about trading with the Brooklyn Nets?
Oh.
Michael Porter Jr. and Tyrese Martin, Suns killer Tyrese Martin, that is, for Jalen Green and Jordan Goodwin.
Steven slides off the screen.
I'm out.
This is bad.
And for that reason, I'm out.
This is bad. Would you say, though, from an
Not
NBA
Michael
perspective?
Jackson,
No. Okay. Steven.
Yeah.
No.
No, I'm not asking you to do this trade, but I'm asking you from a national perspective, do you feel like Michael Porter Jr. and Jalen Green are viewed right now in a similar light as far as trade value goes? Or is Jalen Green higher?
Nah, people know what Michael Porter Jr. is. They've seen it on the playoff stage multiple times.
Mhm.
They've seen his playoff team succumb to his lack of ability to give more than just shooting. But also seen his shooting fall by the wayside, which makes him a negative asset to any main rotation if you're talking about cutting the rotation down to 8 players come playoff time. Positional size is a major plus for him. Athleticism is a negative. If the shooting isn't consistent, what else is he providing you? He can't create for himself.
Quotes.
If teams know that he can't, if the teams know that he's on one of those kind of cold spells, they'll shift off of him. And I think we saw a lot of that kind of play out for Denver in his most recent playoff stretch. Now, obviously he was hurt, but the context is the context as far as when his shooting is not hitting, he doesn't really have a room for a winning team in their main rotation, largely because he hasn't really found a way to add much else. He doesn't rebound as a positive either. So there's like no other way to go about it. It's either it's hit or not for him as far as 3-point shots. Whereas with Jalen Green, my bad. Whereas with Jalen Green, there's at least some positivity as far as the potential for him.
Right.
Had his first showing, didn't show enough, but you can see avenues to where he can be better than what he showed to be this past season.
Yeah.
That was the nice way of saying the things that I'm about to say. This trade makes me think less of you as a person.
Whoa! That's crazy because you already didn't have a high beat.
Craziness.
Again,
No,
I'm
this
not
is-
saying, Gerald, where's the disclaimer of this is not me saying the Suns should do this?
Yeah. No, I get you. I hate this. I hate it. This is the type of like, I think Max brought it up, like no alone for his podcast.
But what about his vices? I would love to know more about his vices.
I fully endorse that. We're not even touching that one. He's not a smart player. He has not addressed a lot of the things that, like Steven said, have held him back on a playoff stage and multiple playoff outings. And he did get better defensively as he got a little bit better when he was locked in, but he was Michael Pigeon Jr. in the series that the Suns played against them when they swept them. Just so far, no. On this one. I hate this trade.
I agree. I think the only thing, and I'm not even saying I think, the only thing you say is, okay, positionally, Michael Porter Jr. fits in more with what this team could need than what Jalen Green does at shooting guard overlapping. That being said, hell to the no, to the no. This next one is a much better player than Michael Porter Jr. Lots of questions surrounding this player on the court as far as availability goes and off the court as far as decision-making goes. It's Zion Williamson and Carlo Metkovic, who, if you remember, if you were a psycho and sicko tapping in during the season, also a Suns killer and somebody that Steven put in a parlay. Put American currency on Carlo Metkovic.
Did he win?
I think so.
One
of the 4 that he won.
Hey, chill out, man.
Sorry, Gerald got me in a bad mood.
My
now.
bad.
So you take it out on me?
It's called passing. It's called generational trauma.
No,
In exchange, Jalen Green and Royce O'Neal go to the Pelicans. We had a Pelicans insider in the chat earlier, Michael Morgan, saying, "I'm very close with the Pelicans, and Zion isn't up for trade for at least 2 years. Joe Dumars and Zion have a great relationship, and the roster built around him. And a roster is built around him now. I don't see a trade happening." That being said, they are the New Orleans Pelicans. Let's take that and the insider reporting out of it, Gerald. What do you think about just the fit of a potential Zion Williamson Devin Booker pairing?
I mean, I'm intrigued by it, but again, like this is a guy that if you look at his career, he seems to alternate between healthy all-NBA caliber, all-star caliber seasons and playing like 20 to 30 games. Like there's no consistency and there's no reliability in that way. And we've seen how much that can damage you. Like I understand this team, if they made a Zion trade, would not have the same expectations as like, the big 3 with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal that we saw. But at the same time, if you're trying to trade for a second star to build around Devin Booker, you have to have somebody that can stay healthy and that can be a star caliber player. On top of that, Pelicans aren't saying yes to this. Like we've talked about how a lot of these trades are unrealistic, but like you're going to have to throw in I would say come on Mall watch, but they got like 4 centers now. I don't know what the hell they're doing. That insider report seems to be under the impression that they are building a specific way. I have no idea what they're cooking over.
They don't know what they're, and that's also the thing, is like they don't know what they're cooking either. They've made some objectively bad trades recently and overlap at positions that they already have. Maybe Steven, this is another maybe injury-riddled season for Zion, and Jalen Green is good and healthy, and that's what swings in the Pelicans' in favor, saying we'll take a shot on a guy who's at least here. Suns, you can have the higher upside guy.
The last thing I think the New Orleans Pelicans are looking for is another guard for that rotation that they got right now.
Yeah.
So because of that, I can't imagine them wanting to do it based off of these parameters. Now, if you bring a third team in and Jalen Green goes elsewhere, now you might be talking if you can find a third team that has a 3 or a 4 that they're willing to give up in the deal to make this work. But in its current construct, I genuinely, they literally don't have minutes to give another guard, yet alone the actual like money to facilitate that. So it just don't make too much sense for me. But to your point and to Gerald's point, this ain't no free ass because this ain't for the Rock, but I have no idea what it is they're cooking down there in New Orleans right now.
He knows what they're cooking.
No idea.
If anybody knows what anybody's cooking, it's Zion Williamson.
Nah, he don't know either. He said, I'm just
No, he's aware because he's eating it.
Oh, man.
Speaking of,
also,
we have an update, an offseason update on Zion Williamson. You guys see this?
No, I did not. What are we looking at?
That.
Oh, man. Come on. How are you going to suggest we trade a player and then do him like that?
Again, this is not a suggestion, Gerald.
If we ever trade for Zion, delete the footage.
I mean, this is hilarious.
This never happened.
Yeah, the being out of shape allegations.
Yikes.
Yikes.
You're just not going to trade for a Zion with just Jalen Green and a role player. Like you got to throw in a young guy like a Ryan Dunn, like an Oso Ighodaro, and even that might not be enough. Mm-hmm. I would say come on Mall watch, but they just traded the farm for Derek freaking Queen, so they clearly, I don't know. No.
Well, if that works, which I'll put in the trade machine right now, would you part with a Ryan Dunn?
No, just because of what I said. I was looking at his stats, and it's like 23 games, 60 games, 29 games, 70 games, and then like 30 games. Like it's not, you just can't build it. I mean, technically speaking, if he keeps flip-flopping, he's due for a healthy season, but like you need more than just one from him.
And just to be clear though, like when they're on the court at the same like if Jalen Green and Zion Williamson are on the court at the same time, Steven, Zion Williamson is a much better player. We're talking about a guy who is generational in the paint, who has shown passing chops. Obviously, the health, the injuries, and all that taken into account. But like when Zion Williamson is on the court, he would actually be an extremely intriguing secondary piece to Devin Booker as far as play style and effectiveness goes.
Yeah, he's one of the 5 toughest matchups for the league when he's healthy. But the caveat is when he's healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
It just ain't been that nearly consistently enough. Like more often than not, when those teams have succeeded, they've succeeded without him being in the mix for a portion of it, hopeful that he will be there for them down the home stretch going into the playoffs. And
if you get a Zion, I love the downhill presence that he brings, the finishing ability that he brings. It would provide a lot of space for Booker, but that's kind of negated by the fact that your 2 centers or 3 centers, if you include Oso in that, are 4 if you include Nick Richards. None of them are proven shooters right now. You need a floor spacing 5 if you're going to have Zion on your team. So that would necessitate the Suns to make a move for that type of player or hope that comes out of the gate shooting like 37% from 3.
Well, that concludes our off-court issues portion of Trade Machine Tuesday. Whether it comes to beefing with your former fan base or saying stupid things on podcasts, or can we put the picture back up again? We'll just let the picture speak for itself. Or
these are apples and oranges.
Or this, apples and oranges, but they're all candied because they're bad for you. We're going to keep it rolling. I'm not going to say they're more realistic, but, there's less problems, I guess, with the guys that you're trading for. We're going to keep it rolling.
But these are also trades.
Yes, statistically speaking, factually speaking, these are trades that work, but are they good? Well, you can be the judge of that right after our second break. if you've been in Phoenix long enough, you've seen Jalen Green get traded a million times. You've also seen it all when it comes to the biggest sporting events, whether it's a Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, a World Series. You've got everything here, bowl games. But if you've never experienced NASCAR Championship Weekend at Phoenix Raceway, well, you're missing out. And guess what? You can't miss it out this time because NASCAR is taking Championship Weekend on the road starting in 2026. This is your last chance to catch it in Phoenix for a while, but you're not just seeing cars roar by at almost 200 miles per hour. You're also witnessing 4 champions crowned in 3 days. And NASCAR fans, well, they get the best access in sports with small ticket upgrades. You can do just about anything except for drive the car. So don't miss your chance to witness NASCAR Championship Weekend in person coming to Phoenix Raceway October 31st through November 2nd. Tickets for Sunday's Cup Series Championship race sell out every year, so move fast and get yours now before they're gone. Here's the kicker. Like I said, they're taking Championship Weekend on the road in 2026. Tickets, hospitality, and upgrades are still available. Get yours now in the link in our show notes. Said this on ASU, but listen, guy like me, I like to stay cool. Okay, I'm not talking about I'm cool because I'm not. I'm talking about like physically speaking, I like to stay cool. And a guy like me doesn't like to spend a lot of money to do so, which is why a guy like me got my smart thermostat with my APS time of use plan, because not only can I adjust my smart thermostat from any device, anywhere, I can also use it to take advantage of lower cost off-peak hours because I have an APS time of use plan. Finding the best way to manage my energy cost and bills because nearly half of your energy costs come from cooling and heating. And right now, APS customers may be eligible for smart thermostats for as low as $0 when you enroll in the APS Cool Rewards program. If you already have a smart thermostat at home, like a guy like me, see if it's eligible to enroll in Cool Rewards. Plus, free installs available in the link in our video description. Must be an APS customer. Pay shipping and taxes. Other restrictions apply. Go to marketplace.aps.com for more information. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Good conversations with Ted, who says at this point, I just want to see Jalen Green kill it because he's always involved in trades. And we totally get that, right? We got Dusty in here, Andy in here, Easy Money Chubbs in here, Tim, Freckled Mamba in the chat, Max, Leo. All the stars are out for Trade Machine Tuesday. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on audio, we appreciate you. Hit that 5-star review. And if you're doing cardio right now, keep going. Faster.
Why?
Faster.
What's wrong with you?
A lot. Do you
if you're
sometimes
listening to us while you're doing cardio, I have a word for you that you might not have heard of. It's called music. I can't work out when I'm listening to a podcast.
Oh, I can. I do all the time.
That's psycho behavior.
I do all the time.
That's psycho and sicko behavior.
Yeah. I mean, that sometimes I think the only time I can get the podcast listening that I want to get into is when I'm working out. There are a lot of people that do it.
I listen, depending on what workouts I'm doing, I listen to podcasts sometimes. More often than not, it is music. It's like 95% music.
Unless I'm doing like heavy lifting, like I can listen to a
That's what I'm
podcast.
saying. Like, if there's weights involved,
Lifting.
It's not all the time.
Cardio, though, I need somebody like in my ear yelling at me.
For
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah, you need somebody you're yelling at you. Keep going. Keep running. No, see, for me, it's like I gotta get in like a trance. I get in a trance. I just start listening to things. I take my mind off of it. Yeah. See, look, Tim says, not gonna lie, running in the evening while listening to the show is a vibe. It keeps my mind off the suck. That's what I'm saying, Tim.
That's nice, Tim. I appreciate that.
Is driving a truck cardio.
Easy Money Chubb says, I only listen to slow jams when I work out. That's impressive. I need like angry, loud music in my ear.
Yeah, Leo says, I listen to you guys all the time while I'm working out. I listen to you guys while I'm playing basketball too.
Wow. I can't multitask
Leo,
like that.
please tell me you're not the guy that wears an AirPod while you hoop. Like playing pickup. Like shooting around is one thing. Are you that guy? Steven?
Why would you ask me such a
I just wanted to make sure. I didn't think so. But like, I think my least favorite type of pickup hooper, and I'm sorry if this offends you, is
I'm not at all.
Like, take your earbud out.
I don't care if it's regularly. I don't care if it's just pickup. You have to communicate with human beings on a basketball court.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're not playing a sport the way that it was intended to be playing. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
One of the last 5-on-5 runs that I went to a couple weeks ago, there was a guy there who was wearing an AirPod, and I'm not ashamed to say this. I'm gonna play harder against you if you're wearing an AirPod. Like I'm gonna try harder, and I was defending him, and he thought that he was the bleep, and he was trying to cross me up, and he drove, and I blocked him 3 straight times on 3 straight possessions, and it made me really satisfied with myself because I was like, take your AirPod out.
I think this is what the kids call unk energy.
Yeah.
I'm 10 toes down in it. I don't even care.
Yeah. No, if I'm playing on a team with you and you have an AirPod in, like, I don't respect you. Even if you might be the best basketball player on our team, I don't respect you.
So AirPods and pickups is the equivalent of that MPJ trade then. I think less of you if you're doing it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we know that Jimmy Butler doesn't think less of Phoenix. In fact, Phoenix was his preferred destination. Now, would the Warriors trade him? Well, probably not, but he is under an extension. And maybe this season doesn't go the way the Warriors want it to go. Maybe by the trade deadline, they're looking to get a little younger to get ready for the post-Steph Curry era. What about this trade? Jimmy Butler for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and Nick Richards.
Oh, again, you're not getting.
Do you hate me? Do you respect me less?
No. You're okay. You're fine.
Now.
You're right. You're not getting Jimmy Butler without a young guy involved. Like, you're going to have to throw in Orion because you don't have any picks to offer.
Jalen Green, man.
So Jalen Green is young, technically, but I don't think teams view him as that. I think you need... Like, he's kind of the younger centerpiece,
he's
yes.
young for the Suns.
But you need like a chip to throw in, a younger chip, and that's either usually a draft pick or like a young player with potential that's kind of been relatively untapped. So we're talking like a Malawach, a Ryan Dunn, maybe an Oso, that type of guy. I don't think you're getting Butler from the Warriors without any of those guys included.
And Andy says, man, what's with Gerald giving up Ryan Dunn? First of all, brace yourself.
I don't want to give up.
Brace yourself for some of these trades coming up. Steven, it's just realistically where you're at when you're the Suns, and it's like, okay, if it wasn't Ryan Dunn, we wouldn't put him in there if they had a first round pick to trade or a couple first round picks to trade or to put protections on, but they just don't. So who is the number one substitution there? Well, it's Malawach, and then it's Ryan Dunn. Those are your last 2 first round picks.
Sad but true. That's why we preface with this being more of a thought exercise than it is an exercise of ways in which we think the Suns could viably add around Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Because you're not coming to any of these conversations not having a first round pick and trying to talk about players at the top of anybody's roster in the league right now. It's not happening.
Here's Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks and Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal and role players that you don't really want or have to see value. Yeah, if this wasn't clear from the way I've reacted to these first couple of trades, I don't want to do any of these trades. I don't want to include Ryan Dunn in a trade. I want to see how these young guys play it out. But if we're talking realistically from the other side of things, because too often we focus on, well, what can the Suns get? What do the Warriors want for Jimmy Butler? If you're coming to them without a first-round pick, without a Ryan Dunn, without a Kaman Malawach, they're hanging up on you. Like you're not getting it done.
They're not even willing to give you Kuminga for anything that you have to offer.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not giving up anything that you have to offer for Jimmy. But also, in what world would Jalen Green with Draymond Green, the Green Bros, make sense? Like, we just saw what happened in the playoff series.
Yeah.
Those guys
he
don't
would
like
punch
each other.
No.
My point exactly.
Not another
This
Jordan
is very
Poole.
much a repeating. Yes, correct. I just don't see it making sense for the dub.
It was funny because when I was watching Jalen Green like rim attacks, Draymond Green got in his way or blocked him so many times in that series. It felt like harassment.
Yep.
In retrospect, obviously Jimmy Butler was tied to Phoenix for a long time. And in the moment when he went to Golden State, it felt like, damn, the Suns kind of missed out. Do you have a different opinion on how that played out now, knowing how everything has transpired since about the Suns not getting Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline?
I think they would obviously be closer to contention if they had made that Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler trade. I don't think they're close enough to actually contend, if that makes sense. Like, I think they would be a playoff team heading into this year. We saw the Warriors knock off the 2 seed with the help of Jimmy Butler. Like, we saw the impact that Butler can still make. But I do think in 1 to 2 years' time, you're going to be looking at the Warriors like, what the hell are they going to do now because of that Butler contract and extension? So I'm kind of glad that you're not in that boat And at least you have some young pieces that you can evaluate and hope that 1 or 2 or 3 of them pan out and turn into something long term.
And right now, you don't need Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler needs to be on a contending team, right?
Yes.
Like where you're at right now is not where Jimmy Butler needs to be. So Phoenix, if he requested a trade again, which, you know, it's going to happen at some point, Phoenix would not be at the top of his destinations.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys said you didn't like trading Ryan Dunn, right?
No, we do not.
Yeah, okay. Well, this next trades Ryan Dunn.
Oh, no.
And Oso Iguodala and Dylan Brooks and Grayson Allen because the Suns have no first-round picks to make Danny Ainge happy in exchange for Lauri Markkanen. Steven, your first reaction to this Jalen Greenless trade?
I wish it was realistic. Lauri is probably the best level player I feel like the Suns could potentially appease or at least entertain the thought of going forward within the next 2 seasons. He's probably also one of the more poachable top-level players of a team's roster, not necessarily of the league, but of a team's roster that you might be able to gain access to if you have the facilities for it. And that part, the latter part, obviously being most important than anything. But generally speaking, Lauri with Devin Booker makes a whole lot of sense. I think he has a level of versatility on both ends of the floor that's honestly becoming underrated, largely because people don't watch Utah Jazz basketball, which if it's not your job and you're not a true fanatic of the league as a whole, I completely understand it.
Yeah.
But he's been doing some things over there in Utah, and I feel like they translate well to a win, or at least not win now. I would say playoff level contention type of team. I think he can add some value.
I think if that was on the table, it's not a terrible trade. I do have my qualms with it just because of the contract side of things. Like I think if you're trading for a $46 to $50 million a year player, it should be someone on par with a Kevin Durant or with a top 10, top 15 player. Markkanen's not that. I do like his fit with Booker because we've been talking for years about the value of adding a stretch big to what Booker does, and they still haven't been able to really do that. But at the same time, like, we know Danny Ainge. He's not taking any trade for Markkanen if it doesn't involve multiple first-round picks. So you're probably going to have to throw a come on Mal watch on top of the 2 youngsters you're giving up, and then you have to make the money work on top of that. So, yeah, I like the fit of Markkanen next to Book, but I would say no for honestly both sides a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, any trade when you're trading Ryan Dunn and Oso Iguodala, and again, like I know that we're higher on them here in Phoenix than nationally, but I think there's good reason why people are high on Ryan Dunn and Oso Iguodala. Like I genuinely think that they could be good building block pieces for this team and fit alongside the next time that we talk about the Suns being a playoff threat and being a good team in the West, I see those 2 guys as possible legitimate rotation pieces. Of course, Ryan Dunn a little bit higher up than Oso Iguodala. I don't think that the Jazz listened to this. There is another trade that I put together. It does not include Malawach, but it does change out Grayson Allen for Jalen Green. So it's Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Ryan Dunn, Oso Iguodala. So I think that as a trade asset right now, and again, I think this is like trade deadline, and a lot of these kind of bank off of like Jalen Green ups his trade value, right? But not too much to where the Suns want to keep him. Utah is like, okay, we're getting Jalen Green, who's in his, now mid-20s and proved that he took a leap, right? We're getting Ryan Dunn. Maybe he took a second-year leap. Oso Iguodala, he's in the rotation. And you get Dylan Brooks, right, who's going to fit in with your team as well. Again, I don't think they do this, but for the Suns, when you mention contracts, you're then getting rid of your next 2 highest contracts alongside Devin Booker and Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks in exchange for then 1 bigger contract in Lauri Markkanen. So technically that would make a little more sense, Gerald, but you're giving up even more value for Lauri in this one without still giving up a pick.
Yeah, I think this is closer, but again, I would question what the Jazz are trying to build at that point because they just got rid of Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson to make room for the young guards that they're drafting on top of the young guards that they drafted last year. Now you're throwing Jalen Green on the pile. Like, would he be rerouted somewhere else? Maybe. But then that kind of hurts the offer that Phoenix is putting on the table. So, I like Lauri, but I don't see the Jazz doing this without multiple picks attached. And the Suns, unfortunately, just don't have that to offer. And to your point, you are getting rid of 2 contracts that are bigger, But for me, that's a bad thing because you're trading similar value for less players with less money to fill out your roster. And as we've talked about with the dead money, that's when you kind of start to get in trouble if you have multiple big contracts stacked up and have to, stretch the rest of your cap space to fill out your roster.
Yep, that's the predicament that they're in right now. It's going to be hard to kind of climb this ladder, especially if it's only a 1-for-1 in terms of how many teams are being involved with the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have 2 more trades. Gerald, you have 2 trades. Steven, you have 2 trades. That's a lot of trades to get to right after our final break. I'm so happy I get to talk to all of my psychos and sickos here about chicken and pickle again, because I'm still thinking about the first time that I was ever at chicken and pickle. And no, not just because it was when the Suns got blown out by the Timberwolves in game 1 of the playoffs 2 seasons ago, but it was because of the food. Gerald. The food.
Yeah.
Is so good. And you think, oh, they just have chicken, which they are known for their wood-fired rotisserie chicken. But also they got burgers, wings. We had a rack of ribs, a quesadilla. They got happy hour, live music, full bar. Oh, and by the way, you can play pickleball indoor, outdoor. They have a bunch of other games as well.
And
TVs
actual
galore,
pickles.
And actual pickles as well. And guess what? If your pickleball skills are questionable, but your ability to eat is undefeated, well, Chicken and Pickle still has you covered. Listen, go buy Chicken and Pickle for a good time at 9330 West Hannah Lane in Glendale. Located in Westgate, Chicken and Pickle offers great food, cold drinks, and lots of fun on their indoor and outdoor pickleball courts and game yard. Family-friendly fun awaits. Visit chickenandpickle.com to plan your visit today. Also an undefeated date spot as well. And hopefully you come see me because I'm the headliner at Gila River Resorts Casinos this Saturday. Oh, by the way, it's also the Straight Game podcast with a guy named Shaquille O'Neal, Mike Bibby, Eddie House, and Coach Ty Ellis. Maybe come by for them. Well, that's actually why I'm going to be there at Wild Horse Pass this Saturday, August 11th. Bringing me, my wife Megan, a friend of mine, I know Kevin from the U of A show are going to be out there to listen to a live taping edition of the Straight Game podcast featuring none other than Shaquille O'Neal. Do not miss the rare opportunity to witness greatness live, unscripted, and straight from the source. And we all know Shaq. Unscripted means he could literally say anything. And tickets are available at retail pricing when purchased online or by phone, but discounts are available at the box office only. Get yours now at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass, and hopefully I'll see you Saturday. If you're there, let me know. Come say hi. We'll hang out and we'll stand next to Shaq and see how tiny we are compared to him. Deal?
Sounds fun.
Ask him about that charge situation.
Hey.
Live recorded, all that.
Shaq, can we get Adam Silver on the phone?
The answer is no.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, Shaq probably could.
The answer is still
Could,
no.
but would he?
Okay. Ready for another trade? Hit that like button.
Do it.
Hit that subscribe button. This one, I'm interested to get your guys' thoughts on it, okay? The Indiana Pacers are in a really weird spot right now with Tyrese Halliburton's injury, losing Miles Turner, right? And going from Game 7 of the NBA Finals and starting off hot to, now looking like you're going to be one of the bottom teams in the East unless you put together another magical run without Tyrese and without Miles Turner. What if it's time to move on from Pascal Siakam and go into a little bit more of a youth movement over in Indiana? Well, Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen, Oso Ighodaro, and Kaman Malawach works money-wise. The Indiana Pacers would be banking on a top 10 pick, something that they don't get often. They rarely pick in the top 10 or in the lottery. So they get a blue chip prospect. We'll get in Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks to fit in as veterans along the wing and at the shooting guard, small forward spot. And then another young guy in Oso Ighodaro as well to kind of fill that same positional void as Pascal Siakam, even though he is no Pascal Siakam. I can't tell if this one feels insane or not. Like, I don't know if just the other ones were so bad for both sides that this one maybe feels a little better, but it is kind of determined on what happens with the Pacers this season.
It is. Can I say something daring yet brave?
No.
I think the Pacers are still going to be a playoff team this year.
It is the Eastern Conference.
It's the Eastern Conference, and I think that Nembhard is going to take over that mantle a little bit with Halliburton out. The Pacers would have to be really bad to consider this, and they would have to have like probably a Tyrese Halliburton setback of some sort where it's like, oh, he's not going to be ready for another year or something. I don't see them doing this, even though it's closer value in terms of you're throwing in Malwatch, you're throwing in Oso, you're throwing in 2 good role players. I still don't think it's enough to get it done for Indiana, especially because I think they will be in that play-in picture, even with Haliburton out for the whole season.
I'm genuinely curious what they think about their center rotation right now.
Yep.
They added some kind of some pieces that are marginal, shouldn't necessarily be starting per se, but obviously they got put into a situation with Miles Turner deciding to take his talents up north to Milwaukee. That being said, if we can get the graphic back up again, Ayrton.
Oh, you about to tell me that you don't respect me as a person now?
Come on, Malwatch being involved with this deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they say yes because of him and because of him only and the prospects that he suggests. But I feel like Siakam may be poachable potentially because they might see ways in which they can build their roster out in the front court around something with Malwatch and other pieces if they see the value in him that the Suns saw in him at number 10.
Ted says, Pascal's 31. Why are we getting older while we still aren't contending? This trade doesn't get us past the play-in. I think it's a valid question, and I don't agree with the play-in part.
I think it gets you past the play-in. If you're keeping Jalen Green with Devin Booker and adding Pascal Siakam, if it is not the most natural per se, but you keep Mark Williams in that deal, your 4-5 is Pascal Siakam to do a lot of the stuff similar to what Evan Moore. If everybody wants to talk about double big and not necessarily use it correctly, and then you get a piece that would use it correctly in addition to what you already have, you're working with something there.
I agree with you both on that. I do agree with the question of if it doesn't get you to title contention,
correct,
and he's on the wrong side of 30, is that the right move? And I think we would all kind of agree that we would have qualms about that part of it. But I do also agree that Malwatch has a lot of potential. There are probably teams that see him as a future monster in the making, but I think a lot of those teams are realistic. It's going to take some time. So if the Pacers are pulling the trigger on a deal like this, it's because they're totally resetting their timeline. And I just don't, even with Haliburton being down for a year, I don't see them doing that coming off a finals run unless things are really, really bad by the trade deadline.
Well, and I think it's also the fact that you lost Miles Turner, too, as well. It's like, what's your path here, and what are you doing going forward? I like Jay Huff. I love the reverse dunk package.
Yes.
My thing
Shout out Miles. He's a Mason.
Mason Plumlee. It is Miles Plumlee, though, who goes with the reverse, too. My thing with Pascal is if you're the Suns, right? Because I think a lot of people look at giving up Kamal Malwatch and say no. And I think that's completely fair. But also, like, Kamal Malwatch is an unknown. I believe in him, but I believe in everybody. So, yeah.
We love a self-aware king.
Hey, he's calling me king, and you're telling me that you hope that I die tomorrow.
I didn't say that.
That's basically what you said. It's how you made me feel. Pascal's like this is a trade where it's like, hey, you got a healthy season for Mark Williams, and he's being extremely effective on the court. He looks like he could be, one of the better starting centers, not the best, not top 5, maybe not top 10, but around that spot as far as all the tools that he brings center, in the NBA.
Who you talking about here?
Mark, if this is like, if you make this trade and you're getting healthy Mark Williams, and he had a full off season of being healthy and fits in well with this offense and is better at defense because he's not in Charlotte surrounded by LaMelo Ball's Cheetos.
Those are nasty.
If you have we believe in Mark Williams, he's young, we're going to give him an extension. We like this guy, right? And then we're keeping Jalen Green. We're keeping Ryan Dunn. So it's Book, Green, Ryan Dunn, Pascal Siakam, Mark Williams, right? Best case scenario, that is a playoff team in the West, in my opinion. Pascal Siakam has been the second best player on a championship team and the second best player on a team that was one Achilles injury away from potentially beating one of the best teams I've watched in my own eyes in the Oklahoma City Thunder in the playoffs. He's a notorious playoff riser. He does a little bit of everything. He's an extremely good basketball player, and he's good enough to be the number 2 next to Devin Booker. And at times, maybe even be the number 1, depending on how he's playing.
Yeah, I was in on them going for him if they weren't going for Kevin Durant a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah. And so if you do that, and if you are, again, you're the Suns, and like you mentioned, Gerald, you're a team that likes to go, right? Like, let's win, right? And maybe Devin Booker goes to you and says, listen, I love Kaman, but he's not going to be ready until I'm 32, right? Pascal Siakam is ready now. Like, 31 is old, but it's not too old for 29-year-old Devin Booker.
No.
Right? They are similar enough in age. So I think it's interesting. Is it likely? Again, like all of these, no.
And I don't know. I'm not the most privy to their books right now. I don't want to spend too much time here, but one of those two young guys might be up for some money soon.
I think Nembhard is under an extension.
Nembhard is on the extension already, so Neesmith. So is Neesmith coming due soon? Don't want to spend time on it. I'm just thought exercise wise.
Nembhard makes 18 million this year, 19 million, 20 million, 21 million after that. Neesmith is extension eligible this summer.
Yep.
But he's on 2-year, $22 million deal.
Feels like Benedict Matherin's going to be maybe the guy that gets cut out of that young core, possibly.
He's also extension eligible. And we haven't heard anything about that.
Okay. But maybe something to monitor going forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe they might be okay off it with Siakam with the plans forward.
And seeing how this season goes.
For sure.
And if Malawat shows flashes, maybe they're interested in that. Okay. How about a center instead of a forward, Gerald? We're finally done, except for one more. Trades with my trades. You brought a couple involving the NBA's leading rebounder the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at stars that could be on the move in the next year or two, Domantas Sabonis has to be near the top of that list. Again, I don't know if he's a star that puts you closer, but let's take a look at the first one here. We've got Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen, Ryan Dunn, and Mark Williams going to Sacramento. Suns getting Domantas Sabonis. This is a lot to give up for Sabonis, considering he's not a spring chicken anymore either. And I don't like defensively, I would have major concerns about a team sporting Demo and Devin Booker.
And you're trading your two best POA defenders in this trade as well, in Dylan Brooks and Ryan Dunn.
Correct. But this is what it would take without a first round pick. You're not getting, even for the Kings, you're not getting Domantas Sabonis without including some younger players in this trade. Mark Williams, as much as we like him and see potential in him, and he's young and all these boxes that we talk about him checking, hasn't played more than half a season in his first 3 years. So he would have to stay healthy, and you would be trying to like sell high while you can. Still wouldn't do this. You're giving up 4 players for 1. That's a lot. You're giving up a lot of wing depth, and we know that that is a concern for this team. So,
yeah, I think the best case scenario to get the most out of a Sabonis would be moving him back to the 4 and having a Chet Holmgren type 5 around him that can provide rim protection, but also space the floor and allow for Sabonis to be the main screener and play the 5 on offense. The Suns do not have the facilities for that.
No.
As much as I feel like Sabonis being able to connect things for them and be that hub for them offensively, be their point guard essentially,
right?
How that would alleviate tons of things and shift the court for them offensively. You cannot ignore the defensive side of things.
The offense would be absolutely dynamic with those two running the 2-man game. And he was, I think, the leading rebounder in the league. Like he's very
2 years
elite.
in a row.
Yeah, on
back
that
to back,
front. So, but defensively, you'd have concerns. Let's take a look at the second Demo trade that I put together.
Gross.
This one swaps out Ryan Dunn for Kaman Malawach, and this one swaps out Mark Williams for Oso Ighodaro. I guess the reverse, because you're replacing Dunn, younger, cheap contract, with Ighodaro, younger, cheap contract. You're replacing one of your questionable centers at around $6 million between Mark Williams and Kaman Malawach. Again, I have no idea what the hell the Kings are doing, so you could mix and match in some capacity here. I do think Malawach and Dunn would be way too much. I still wouldn't make either of these trades, but if they wanted Malawach and Dunn, it's like, nah.
If I'm doing a trade package, it's the first one.
The first one with Dunn and Williams instead of Malawach.
Because I
and
think
Ighodaro.
keeping Malawach next to Sabonis is like some of the issues that scouts have had with Malawach is his toughness, his rebounding, right? Screen setting, stuff like that. And those are all things that Sabonis, really thrives in. And like you mentioned, he could fall into a Chet Holmgren-like role. We don't know. And Chet came into the league much more skilled, much more polished, much more ready. But body-wise and hopefully ceiling-wise, you could see him hitting something similar to that. Surprise, surprise, I'm back. And surprise, surprise, I traded for a guy who plays center.
It's glazing time
For the Minnesota Timberwolves, Rudy Gobert.
You know the thing that's it's clobbering time? Your thing is it's glazing time.
It's Gobert time. In exchange for Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, and Nick Richards. I don't know why the Timberwolves would do this unless they want to take a bet on Mark Williams, who's going to be a much cheaper contract than Rudy Gobert, and putting Dillon Brooks in between Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle isn't the worst thing in the world. Before I get your guys' takes on it, I want to remind everybody who is watching on TV that the party, well, yes, it always continues over at GoPHNX.com, including all of Gerald's wonderful writing. Our shows are live on there as well, plus posted after the fact, plus all of our other content from all of our other shows and beats. Check it out over at GoPHNX.com, but it's time for overtime here on PHNX Suns, which means it is also time for you to hit the like button. It is also time for you to hit the subscribe button. And if you're listening on audio and you're still running, keep running.
Mm-hmm.
Faster.
You can do it.
Faster. Go.
Bear.
Is.
Plays.
Duh.
No,
okay. Rudy Gobert for Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, Nick Richards. Who says no and why?
The Timberwolves, this is only happening if like he's injury prone, he's clearly declining. They're like looking at his contract and like, okay, we need to figure out a way out of this. We just drafted Joan Behringer, who is his young French replacement at the center spot. Behringer, whatever. I mean, he's got 35 mil this year, 36 and a half the following year, $38 million player option the year after that. I am a little concerned about that Gobert contract, considering he's 33 now.
Yep.
The decline is coming at some point. This type of trade would make sense if you're still a team that plans on contending. For me, even if Mark Williams is injury prone, I don't like giving up that much depth for a guy that, you know, is going to be on the decline and makes more sense for a contending team.
That's it. If they still were working with even just Kevin Durant being around and had came to a solution with the Beal situation, it would have made sense to me for them to do that in some capacity. But now, definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, and Andy says in the chat, oh man, no. Paying Green, Booker, and Gobert all that money with Beal dead cap hit. We're going to be signing pure vet minimums. I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't intrigued with what if Kaman Malawach develops, like we mentioned with Domantas Sabonis, having a Kaman Malawach and Rudy Gobert, plus Malawach being the successor to Rudy Gobert after that contract runs dry. But the money is just too much. I think for Minnesota, it's interesting. Because of the money side of things and because you lose an Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right? And so getting a Dillon Brooks to put on your guy as a POA defender, who he's not the same type of shot creator as NAW was, but he's still a serviceable offensive player. Nick Richards would then be your backup center as well. Both those guys can play alongside Naz Reid, who you just committed a lot of money to as well. I think it's interesting. I don't think the Suns do this, honestly. I think the Timberwolves might be more likely to do this to get ahead of the Gobert problem instead of behind, and get, you know, one young guy in Mark Williams to take a shot on and one serviceable playoff piece in Dillon Brooks. I think the Suns say no to this because it just, Gobert on this team is not making them, like with Pascal, it's different. With Gobert, like it's not making them a playoff team, even though they'd probably be a walking top 12, 14 defense as every team is with Rudy Gobert.
Naz would have to be playing out of his mind this year. It would have to be like, we're turning it over to Naz. We're getting rid of Gobert.
Well,
last one,
Steven. Well, you have two. We have graphics for one, so we can run through two. But the first one that we have a graphic for is this one.
Yeah, we got the Suns receiving Domantas Sabonis in the 3-team deal with the Sacramento Kings and the Chicago Bulls. In addition to Sabonis, the Suns will be receiving Kobe White to kind of play that point guard spot in place of Jalen Green, who will be going to the Bulls along with Mark Williams. And the Kings in this deal will be receiving both Grayson Allen as well as Nikola Vucevic. So the Kings get the Bulls, literally, in addition to a shooter in Grayson Allen. Suns come away with a starting 1 and a starting 5, and the Bulls are the Bulls still.
The Bulls get great value out of this trade for just, well, I mean, I guess Kobe White.
Kobe White's the best player in this deal.
I think the Kings hang up immediately.
No, Domantas.
They're not getting enough for Sabonis out of this.
It's the Kings.
It is the Kings. This would be the ultimate Kangs deal if they did this.
The Charlotte Hornets are to the Phoenix Suns what the Chicago Bulls are to the Sacramento Kings. They just can't stop getting their players.
Yeah.
DeRozan,
I thought about sending Kevin Huerter back.
It's like they're addicted to former Chicago Bulls.
Like somebody needs to tell someone in Sacramento or Chicago, put the phone down, stop talking to the other one. You're toxic.
I like Kobe White. I like a Kobe White, Devin Booker backcourt.
Sure.
And Sabonis, again, we already talked about Sabonis. I think is interesting. I I don't know.
That's a great deal for Phoenix. They come out like
Getting Kobe White is
gangbuster.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, you're getting certified All-Star in Sabonis, and you know, if Kobe, there's definitely a chance that in the Eastern Conference, Kobe White is an All-Star this year.
Yeah,
I think
maybe. Maybe
in the East, not in the West.
East. Yeah, I don't think the Kings do that. Like they need more value for what they're giving up.
You had one last trade for us, Steven?
I did.
We don't have a graphics. He's going to run us through it.
Got you. Let me pull that back up. But in this deal, it was a 3-team deal with both the Utah Jazz and the
Bulls.
Chicago Bulls. Again, yeah. The Suns will be receiving Lauri Markkanen,
Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White. And then the Bulls would be getting Jalen Green, Royce O'Neal, and Nick Richards from the Suns. And then the Jazz would be getting Dylan Brooks, Patrick Williams, and Grayson Allen.
Danny Ainge is going to put a hit out on you, Steven. To giving up Lauri Markkanen for Dylan Brooks, Patrick Williams, who we've also said might be the worst contract in the NBA. I mean, Grayson Allen, come home.
Come home, Grayson.
Let him know again that I said this was a thought exercise, not something I thought would actually happen. But
these are all real trades, Steven, like my Michael Porter Jr. and Kevin Durant ones.
We talked about Kobe White with the Suns. The Suns also receiving Lauri Markkanen and Nikola Vucevic will be fun on the offensive end. Defensively, question mark. But yeah, I think this should show examples of why is not likely that the Suns are going to make a big fish move anytime soon without having draft picks in their capital.
Right, because every single star that we brought up on the show, we've had even if the Suns could pull off the actual trade without first round picks, we've had a moment like, yeah, but their contract, or yeah, but their defense, or yeah, but does it really make you a title contender with the amount of youth that you have on your roster? And I think that's kind of the point of the exercise, is the fact that, again, if you are a Suns team that wants to get this thing back on the rails, you better hope that some of these young guys that you've drafted or that you've traded for pan out quickly, because you're trying to recapture that lightning in a bottle from 2021 where you develop a young core to be a finals caliber team. And we've seen multiple teams around the league do that, but it usually takes some time and it requires some patience. And those are things that maybe are not on the Suns side, with Devin Booker being 29 soon.
Not abundant in the world right now. Time and patience.
No.
But we appreciate you taking some time and being patient with us on what was probably the most hair-pulling, frustrating edition of Trade Machine Tuesday, from Michael Porter Jr. to Zion Williamson to Kevin Durant. We covered it all.
I'm sorry I said that to you.
Yeah, that was mean.
But then you brought up his name again, and I was like, no, I still feel that way.
Yeah, no, it was warranted yet mean. It's okay. On ASU, they call me the dumbest guy alive. So,
that's rude.
It all
I didn't
balances
insult
out.
you. I just said I liked you less.
Yeah, no, you said, like, personally speaking, I think less of you as a human being.
Oh, I did say that.
Yeah,
that's
no,
right.
you
to be
clear,
was like, no,
you said, I think less of you as a person.
That's a core memory now. I
To be
remember
fair,
what was said.
If you came up with that trade, I would feel the same way. I just wouldn't have said it on air.
Oh, that's fair.
Dick. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us on a Tuesday. We're gonna take a little break from Trade Machine Tuesdays going forward, just because it feels like we are hitting the Jalen Green nail on the head too many times. The plank is already in. It's secured. We don't need to hit it anymore.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing an early edition of the Tier. Tiers Day Thursday will be no more this week, because Thursday is when the full NBA schedule drops. We'll have an entire breakdown for you, games to watch, stretches to watch, things that we need to be looking for in the Suns season. That'll be Thursday. And then Friday, well, speaking of Come On Mala Watch, we have a breakdown episode on deck for all of you. And of course, speaking of breakdowns, keep your eyes out for Steven's film studies, of course, always posted right here on YouTube. If you are an audio listener that is continuing to run right now, or work out or drive or whatever, make sure you're also subscribed on YouTube so you can catch those breakdowns. Of course, we also have content that just goes up on YouTube and YouTube Shorts. And then we have also supplemental podcasts, trending podcasts, little mini ones for audio and for video. But don't worry, audio listeners, we have something special coming for you this weekend that I was able to record this past weekend. That's going to be super fun conversation. Of course, over on GoPHNX.com, Jared will continue to write incredible articles, and you must be a diehard to see most of them. So become a diehard today over at GoPHNX.com/join. Andy Cruz says, what replaces Trade Machine Tuesday? Freckled Mamba says, Self-Care Tuesday.
That sounds great. TLC Tuesday?
All righty. You can follow the show at
You just wanna
PHNX.
ignore Nate?
Yeah, at PHNX underscore Suns. On Instagram, on Twitter. By the way, find me on TikTok as well. I'm interacting with a lot of people on TikTok, trying to, get in with the youths. Take your AirPod out,
You a
kids.
talker?
Take your AirPod out when you hoop. Follow the show at PHNX underscore Suns, Twitter and Instagram. Follow Gerald at Gerald Borgay. Follow Steven at StevenPG3. Follow the Freckled Mamba at Freckled Mamba. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. Listen to Easy Money Chubbs. Hit that like button. And Gerald, we have some conversations we need to have.
We all silly like the mayor.